Hi, hello and welcome to this finally happening review of the Glamlite aka Scamlite Nightmare on Elm Street collection. I want to say some words before we dive into the stuff and just remind you what happened. This collection came out October 31st, 2023, so 3 months ago, or two, yeah, more like 2 months ago. And it was part of the Glamlite like horror thing. Like they had the Ghostface collection, then the Friday 13th, and then the Nightmare on Elm Street one, where they just brought out collections collaborating with different franchises of horror movies of the 90s or early 2000s. The Ghostface collection was such a banger that when they announced a Nightmare on Elm Street collection, I was flabbergasted. I wanted to have that so bad, I bought it immediately the moment that it went live on the website. Complete collection box without the PR kit. I don't want to pay like 20 bucks more for some cardboard that it's extra packaging. Then things happened. I mean, they stated on their website that their shipping time can be around 2 to 3 weeks. Okay, I get that. It's an indie brand, they're overwhelmed, they're overworked. Give them those 3 weeks. I also paid extra money, so I was able to choose between different shipping options like normal, standard tracking, or express. Express usually is around 30 to 50 euro, depending on the country where it's coming from, and I paid around 35 or something like that extra just to get express shipping. So the weeks went by, it was November and it was mid-November, and on November 15th I got the confirmation that my order was now shipped. I had my DHL Express tracking number and all that stuff. Usually, and that is the experience that I have like, I don't know, 10 out of 11 times, or like 10 and a half out of 11 times, when I get this tracking number, it's scanned as like a label is printed. Then 24 hours later, usually it is picked up. It's either the same or the next day, something like that. And usually 24 hours again later, the package is with me. So if there is nothing bad happening, like duties or checking this package or DHL needing somewhat of a confirmation that I paid the taxes or I didn't pay the taxes, so they sent a bill then to me, it's a very easy system. There is no delays, then the package usually arrives after 2 to 3 days after I get that confirmation that it was sent out and when I get the tracking number. With the Glamlite package, nothing happened. Like, nothing happened. So on November, I think it was 20th or 21st, something like that, I wrote them an email asking, hey, what's going on with my package? You sent that nearly a week ago, what's happening? And they answered me with the like most copy-paste standard text ever, saying me that they do have 3 to 4 week shipping time. And I'm like, are you even reading what I've written? It's not about like you shipping it out. You already sent me the confirmation that you were shipping out my stuff. I already have a tracking number. What the fuck is going on? And then everything went downhill. They didn't answer any email. I wrote them daily at the end because it just did not answer, and I wanted to know what's going on. And with the last emails that I sent, we're talking like end of November, something like that. I was also saying that if they do not respond in the next 48 hours to one of my emails, I will contact the credit card company, I will get my money back, and I will do like, I will file in something against them. Because this, to me, I'm sorry if I sound Karen-like, but this is fraud. I'm sorry, this is straight up online fraud, at least from German law. They didn't respond at all. Nothing. Nada. Niente. And then I started, in the meantime, like while I was writing those emails and while I was waiting for them to respond, I started, out of recommendation from you guys, commenting on their socials. And they deleted my comments. All of them. All of them. And they were not like, I don't know, like insulting or so. I think the sassiest thing that I wrote was when they announced yet another collection or a sale or something like that. I just wrote that maybe they should make sure that all the products from the previous orders or the previous collections are shipped out and not announce anything new now, yet, because this is just a joke. That was the sassiest thing I wrote. But they deleted everything. They did not respond to them. They did not respond to the DMs and not to my emails. In the meantime, it was the beginning of December. I filed some papers in for the credit card company, and they were working towards me getting the money back. They have a policy where you have to wait a certain amount of days, and after those days, it's no problem to get the money back. We already did that thing. The credit card company said, yeah, you have to wait 7 more days and then we will charge back the money. In those 7 days, actually, I got finally an answer from Glamlite. We're talking like 4 weeks later, around like 3 to 4 weeks later, telling me that they had a problem. There was something going on in their warehouse and now they refund me. So they refunded everything to my credit card, which was fine. I actually ticked that off my list. I unfollowed them on Instagram because I was like, okay, I don't want to deal with that bitch behavior. Like, this is not what I want. I understand every indie brand that is overwhelmed, but to be honest, Glamlite's not a small indie brand anymore. That's gone. I'm sorry, but the heavy marketing they do, the heavy influencer marketing, the amount of releases they are able to push out of their fucking butts. You're not a small indie brand anymore. Get your fucking shit together. But do you know what happened then? All of a sudden, I got an email from DHL that my Glamlite package will arrive now. So I do have now different theories. Theory number 1, they messed just up. They printed out the label, they prepared the package, and it was maybe missorted. They lost it in the factory, whatsoever. What do I wish? I wish that Glamlite just then would have said, I'm sorry, we made a mistake, we lost your package, we can offer you now either to refund you completely or to resend the goodies to you, depending on what you want. That would have been an option that I still would have been a bit pissed about the long waiting time and now waiting again for them to reship it, but that would have been a very mature answer, just saying I made a mistake and I'm fine with that. My second theory is actually, and I think that is more true than the first one, they just printed out labels so that people will get a shipping confirmation and shut the fuck up, because they just overwhelmed themselves with 3 very popular franchise collections launching in a span of 6 weeks. I was really thinking about, should I do a review on these items or not? I was discussing this with you on Instagram. I did a poll on Instagram and a lot of you said do it anyways, but some of you also recommended do it, yes, but tell us the story again, and that's why I'm sitting here. So now let's talk about the products. So within that collection, first of all, there is a makeup bag, nothing really special. To be honest, I'm not a traveler. I don't know when I should use this. I have it here, I keep it, but it's nothing that makes me like super duper crazy. Then you have your like usual mirror. Then you had in this collection 3 lip products, 2 lipsticks and a lip oil. Then we have a face palette with a beautiful, like, I don't know, how do you call those shifty pictures? I don't know. But they change, and this is just a blush palette with 3 different blushes. And then 2 eyeshadow palettes. One being the Dream Master palette. This is the red one. And then you have the Freddy Krueger palette. This is a muddy green one. I will show you in this video a look with each palette, starting with the Dream Master one. This is the Freddy Krueger look, so I just finished filming the rest and the outro. I'm also showing you blush applications of 2 of these, and at the end some swatches of these blushes, and I also show you the lip products applied. Before we head into the first tutorial, I just want to say, if you are tempted by any of those products, wait please for the end of the video for my review, because I do have thoughts on everything. And if you, after that review, are just saying like, you know what you described that you didn't like is something that I personally really love, maybe you then want to have it. I will not stop you buying stuff from Glamlite. What I just want to say is, if you can, don't buy it from the website. I cannot support that shady business they do over on the website. If you really want to have Glamlite items, which I totally understand because their collections are really tempting, maybe buy it from a third-party seller. You know, in Europe we have Monolith Shop, for example, and they do have Glamlite stuff too. They usually have that, I don't know, like 3 to 4 weeks after it released. Or with this collection, they actually launched that in January. So maybe they were also affected by their warehouse problem. I don't know, I don't care. But those other sellers where you can buy indie brands or any other brands, they already paid for that stuff. Like, they already paid money to get these items and they now want to get back the money with some more to make a positive income. So if you want to support this and a third-party seller, but not the Glamlite website itself, you can buy it always from those other shops because the stuff has already been bought. Glamlite already did, like, they already made some money on it. Why not buy it from a third-party seller? But now let's head over to the first tutorial with the Dream Master palette. Okay, so let's tackle the first palette. This is the Dream Master one, and this is the dark red one. I just say it right away, the color story is a 10 out of 10 because I personally, I wanted to have an all red palette, so I love this color story. Let's separate just that from what happened. So I'm starting with the shade Chest of Souls, and yes, I'm using the brush from their set. They're actually quite decent, to be honest. I will do a like brush per brush review at the like ending of the video. But from what I have seen now and the way that I use them, I actually quite like them. In general, when it comes to this blending brush, I wish it would be a bit more stiff because for me personally, it's a little bit too flimsy. I'm now tapping into Cursed with this flat brush. I don't really know what it's supposed to do, but it looks like a shader brush, but for me, it's actually a really precise, nice crease brush. And this is what I do. I apply this in the outer V and crease. I just want to have some counterpart in darkness and tone, because if you just apply too much red, it can very, very quick look sick. For that, I'm tapping now into Midnight, which is just a true blood red. I love this shade. I'm honest with you. Just from looking at it, I'm happy. And I apply this on top of the gray. And in that way, it kind of turns a bit purple. I'm also tapping into Villain, which is a black. And just from when you look at the color story, the choice of putting a black in here was very, very clever because the black will balance everything out a bit. Otherwise, you would have ended with a like 50 Shades of Red look. But since all of these reds are quite dark and next to each other, there is not a lot of variety, but the black and the gray, that changes a lot in this palette. So as per usual, I applied some glitter glue on my eyelid, and now I'm starting with the shade Nancy, which is a black with silver specks throughout. And I try to fit 3 different shimmers on the lid so that we see the full potential. And I'm starting to apply this just on this outer area. I'm now going into Don't Fall Asleep, and I apply this on the center, bringing this on top of Nancy. Okay, I wish I would have applied Nancy first. No, not Nancy, Don't Fall Asleep first. I'm fooled a bit. I hope you can tell in the close-up because the Don't Fall Asleep shade is, to me, a glitter color with a matte base, but as you can see, it applied mainly matte with a few specks, which is now a bit disappointing, but we can save the look. I'm now going into Dream Warrior, which is this nice true, not a true red. It has more of an orange undertone, but it's definitely more redder than the rest of the shades that we used on the lid. And I apply this in the inner part of the lid. And I now drag it across this black center shade, which was not anticipated by me. Okay, this actually turns out to be a mess, and I'm not really happy with what is happening here. It's like all over the place. I mean, this was me. I was just smearing with my hand, as you can see. But everything else, for whatever reason, it turned pink the more I blended, which not cute. Okay, so usually I don't film the cleanup moment, but this time I thought it might be quite satisfying to do so. So let's just clean that up. I also clean up that inner part a bit here, like so. It looks really harsh now, but I think we can still, or I can still save it once I'm done with the rest. And when I do my under eyes, I can probably bring it back to life a bit. I know how weird this looks, but as you can see, I just removed a lot of the colors. And I will do now my face stuff, and then when I do the under eye area thing, this has dried from the remover wipe, and then I can go over it maybe with a clean brush. We will see how I'm going to rescue this now. Okay, let's try and save this mess. So what I do is with a clean brush, that doesn't work. Okay, yeah, that's great, that's great. No, you know what? I'm tapping back into the gray shade into Curse, but with a more dense pencil brush. Fingers crossed this works. And I go over the edges with this, like that. You're kidding me. So I switched brushes now. Still dense, but not as dense. This is an absolutely horrific look. Which is funny, because it's kind of supposed to be a horrific palette, but not horrific in a way that I'm experiencing it now, more the theme. I'm also taking some translucent powder to soften this. This is so high up there on my eye, I don't like that. I really hate it. I'm going back in with the matte black to like mimic a bit of a higher crease now, so that it does not look that bad. Okay, so I'm also using now Villain, the black, on this outer part. Maybe when I finish the lower lash line, this is kind of an acceptable look, but maybe not. I'm tapping into Terror now, which is a more like wine blood red shade. And I smudge this across the lower lash line and on top of this black. Okay, you know what? That's not acceptable. I am removing now this whole part here. Still ugly, but better. And I just wanted to show you that these are all the brushes that I needed to clean up this fucking mess here, or to create this bloody mess of eye look. Let's hope Inner Corner Highlight is going to save the look. And you know what? Screw it. We're going into the silver. This is Springwood Slasher. I mean, it looks like an intimidating silver, but I kind of have a feeling that this is not. Because the red also is not red, it's pink. So who knows what it really is. But I apply this here on the inner corner, on the lower lash line. And I try to cover up this super messy and scratchy and ugly crease part. To be honest, at this point, absolutely nothing can save this look. This is, is this kind of a revenge move? Revenge move from Glamlite? What the fuck? Did they put something in the palette to say like, oh, screw you, you motherfucker, because you ranted so bad about us? Okay, so with my brows done, it's kind of coming together. So let's now use the shade Nightmare. This is a pinkish silver sparkly shade, and I hope that this will go on the like brow area as a brow highlight. And I use the other eye brush from Glamlite. This is a, I don't know, like a small pencil brush. I like brushes like that for the brow bone area. I'm already afraid as fuck. Okay. Yeah, this is fine. This is very translucent. Exactly what I wanted, but has a slight tint, which is okay. The sparkle is there, it's subtle, it's actually nice. Okay, so now I already applied some powder bronzer, And there is also this face palette in here, and since I'm only doing 2 looks, but we have 3 blushes, I cannot use all 3 of them. But since this look is so dark, I'm using the darker shade of these. For this one, this is not a first impression. I have used the blushes before, and I can admit they're nice. They're very, very pigmented. Like if Rare Beauty blushes, the soft pinch blushes, were in a powder form, this is what I expect from them. So I do just slightly tap my brush in there and apply it, because otherwise it would look just as bad as my eye today. But overall, I actually like this blush. I do like the blush also from the Ghost Face collection, even though this is a true blood red. It looks stunning on my face. And this looks stunning too. Okay, so with brows, mascara and stuff, it's kind of okay, just don't come too close. There are also 3 lip products in the line, one being this very, very cool toned pink that does not really match the vibe today. Then we have this more dark brownish red whatever shade. And then there is a red lip oil that is very translucent but has glitter in it. I have used it so far, it's nice. It feels a bit thinner than the Dior ones, but the glitter is not visible, which is a bit sad, to be honest. So what I do today is I use this lipstick. I mean, this look can't go worse, can it? And I want to use the lipstick and the lip oil, so I just apply this on the inner part of the mouth, and I smear this around with my finger so that we have more of a like bitten look. I'm really into that currently. And then I use the lip oil on top of it. I think the end result is not that bad, but the way we had to walk until we were here, too painful. So let's head over to the second palette. Okay, let's now move on with the other palette, and this is called the Freddy Krueger palette. This is not as appealing to me as the Dream Master palette, but I hope that this is going to be a bit easier to work with. I like the fact that you have one row of shimmer and the other row is just mattes. I kind of love this design a bit better than the Dream Master one. And I learned my lesson, so this time let's start in the other order, like not light to dark. I'm starting with the darkest green in this palette, and this is Asylum, and I go in with a Refer number 1 Max brush. I'm not sponsored by Refer, I wish I am. And I apply this on the outer part. And I don't take a lot of time blending, I just slap it on because we're going to blend that out with other shades in the palette. I'm now using Maniac, and I'm using a more dense, smaller brush. This is a Zoeva 227 Soft Definer one. And I load up the brush and I start blending this into the crease part. Are these even 2 different shades? In the pan they are, but let's be honest, on the eyes, not much of a difference. Like, yeah, different undertone, but since they are kind of in a very, very similar level of depth, I don't know. Oh, okay. Already better than yesterday, yes, but let's go now into Elmstreet with a more fluffy brush, and this is a BH Cosmetic tapered crease brush. It's more fluffy, and I blend the edges with that shade. I tap back into Asylum and I try to build that shade up again, because I feel like a lot got lost. Okay, I applied my glitter glue and I was thinking of what do I want to use, because I'm a bit afraid that I will have the same experience with the shimmers as I had with the Dream Master palette, where it looked like a shimmer but it was actually a matte. The most appealing in this palette is actually this shade here. This is Boiler Room for whatever reason. So let's start with that one. Load up the brush. It looks quite stunning. And I apply this in the center. Okay. Oh, this is what I was missing yesterday. Look at this shade. It is beautiful. I'm brave. I go into Vanagons now and apply this on the outer part, but I'm afraid that this is a matte with shimmer particles. Oh, I think I'm right. Okay. Tap it on here. Oh no, okay. It's a very subtle gold sheen throughout. It's quite an interesting shift going on. In the pan, it appears much like a mossy green, very dark, but it applies as a very, very dark based green, and the golden shimmers are what makes this look so mossy. I like that, I'm honest, I like that. I'm now tapping into Coming For You, which sounds a bit sexual, I'm not gonna lie. And I apply this on the inner part. This is a beautiful goldy olive green. Okay, I'm going back into Asylum with this very pointy brush. I think with the Dream Master palette I used that for the brow bone highlight, but you can also use brushes like that, very nice for the lower lash line. And I just smudged that shade all along. And now I go into Knives with a, shading brush for my under eyes. This is the Be Perfect Stacey Marie 305 brush. And I used this to smudge at this little edge between the green and my skin to just smoke it out a bit more. For the inner corner highlight, I'm going into Killer, and this looks like a duochrome actually. Like green and gold, kind of shifty shade. And yeah, I think I'm right. It is exactly that. But it's one of those shades that have more of a transparent base. So you either love that or you build it just up if you want to have a bit more intensity going on here. Usually I love to use another color from the palette as brow bone highlight, but since the shimmers are quite limited when it comes to lighter shades, I will use Killer too. And to be honest, the Killer shade is killer. Like, I really enjoy that one. Looks really pretty. Wow. This shade reminds me of something I do already have from Cleonad. I think this look needs a bit of a liner, and I do have some here. I got the complete ColourPop vault within their sale, but there is no dark green, which is surprising. I do have this gold and Wildcat that could match. Or this one. Oh, I think this one is better. This is from About Face, and this is Electric Slide. It's a very, very light chartreusey color. That's kind of a nice pop of color. So for blush, I'm going to be a bit daring today, and I'm using the center one, which is really bright. This is bright. Brightness level is turned up to 150. Oh boy. You can go overboard with these blushes so quick. Like, look at my cheek. This is completely my fault. This is not the fault of the product. I knew what I was doing. I just underestimated the power of this motherfucking blush. If this happens to you, the easiest is just go over it with your powder brush. Either take some additional powder or nothing at all, like I did, and then you're also good to go. There is unfortunately no highlighter in this collection. I actually wish that this face trio had maybe 2 blushes and a highlighter. Okay, so I just lined my lips with the Rare Beauty Humble. Yeah, the Humble lip liner that is in my Focus product box. And now we're going to use the second lipstick from the collection. I'm honest with you, I really don't get the color choice of this one. The other dark one, I understand, but this is such a cool toned lipstick. It does not really vibe with the palette. The color itself actually is beautiful, and I've worn this once before. I like this color a lot. Let's see how it works with the green eye look. Not my cleanest application, but that will do. These lipstick formulations are very, very heavy, so very intense. Not a bad thing, but in my opinion, quite different from what we know today from lipsticks. Okay, this is now the second finished look which I like much more than the first one. So let's talk about the different products from this collection. The mirror is nothing special. It's a mirror. I like this design. I do love the ghost face mirror too, so I actually just used this or the ghost face one now. I think they're very handy, they're very good. This one is actually better in quality than the ghost face one, because the ghost face one already kind of the glue is getting off, and I have to re-glue the bottom part of the mirror, otherwise it will pop out at some point. The bag is a bag. I'm sorry, it's nothing I use on a daily basis. I mean, let's take a look inside. I don't think I showed you that in the intro. It is quite a big one, so you can fit a lot of stuff in here, which is nice. I don't travel that much, but I will keep the bag, and if I at some point do travel, this actually makes a really great, I think it's toiletry bag, like the travel bag where you put in your shower gel, your toothpaste and toothbrush and all that stuff. Maybe even as a makeup bag, who knows? The brush set, when it comes to quality, it's decent, it's good, nothing bad to say about this. I actually really enjoy the 3 eye brushes. It is what it is. I think they're great quality, and this design with the like liquids in there is just so gimmicky and dumb. I love it. This more fluffy, domed and kind of tapered pointed brush I try to use for my under eye setting powder. Does not really work because the bristles do not pick up a powder product that well. I will try to reuse this as blush brush, because I love brushes like this for the Pat McGrath, the stick blushes, you know. I don't like to apply these with the stick like directly on the face. I use brushes like this and then stamp them on. I think this is going to be great for that. The foundation brush, obviously dirty because I used it today. This, I'm not sure. It's your typical, you know, flat, like stippling or not stippling, like buffing brush. I like it, but the quality of this one is not as good. I don't know what's going on with the bristles, but more than just 1 or 2 times since I used this, I do have bristles on my face from that. I washed it already once since I used this and nothing bad happened, so it did not come off. It's not my favorite foundation brush, but it's good enough to keep it. Would I recommend checking these out? Not so much. Maybe just the eye brushes, because as I said, they are surprisingly good. The lip oil is actually a bit of a letdown for me. It is not that I expected like the best lip oils ever. They are formula-wise, or this is formula-wise, equally to the Dior ones. That's just a fact. But disappointed I am in the color. It looks like a sheer red, and if I look very close to it, there is tiny specks of glitter. I just wish that this would translate to the lips. If this would have left a slight red, sheeny color with the tiniest, prettiest glitter particles, that would be the favorite thing of the collection, because the formulation, really good. The lipsticks, I don't know what to think about them. If I had to compare these with other formulations, they are kind of a mix out of the Lisa Eldridge Velvet ones, but Lisa Eldridge is much lighter in texture and more like sophisticated, and a bit of the Dior Forever lipsticks, the ones that are transfer proof. They're equally heavy, they're equally opaque, but this is just in general, I don't know, is it worse? Not really, it's just different. I think they're good. Nothing I would wear every day. They're definitely a vibe, and out of the 2 colors, let me show you them once more. So this is the cool tone pink I'm wearing today, and the other one, this oxblood brown reddish shade. I like this one, of course, more because I just rarely use colors like that, but they're great. They're good. I don't have anything to criticize about them, to be honest. Let's talk about this blush trio. I think out of the complete collection, this is my favorite. I like the blush formulation. I do like it in the Ghost Face one. I even like the highlighter formulation from the Ghost Face blush. I think these are 3 wonderful blushes. They are so pigmented and intense and beautiful. They're a dream of a matte blush. And I can say that confidently, even though all those things happened with Glamlite. I just have to review the product itself. And when you're going to put 3 blushes from like the same theming in one palette, they need to have severe differences. And in my opinion, they do. Like, I can swatch them on my hand too. They are different. They have visible color and depth differences, so they make sense in this palette. Let's talk about the 2 palettes. I am very disappointed and very let down in the Dream Master palette. This was the one I was the most excited about because, you know, I am obsessed with red eyeshadow. So far from my ranking, if you know I do rank everything by quality, color story and excitement, this is at the moment, just by plain numbers, at the same place as Mothership 11. And if you have seen my ranking, that means it's the last place in my collection. I rank this even lower because this was such a letdown and disappointment. I felt very insulted by this palette. I think the last time I felt so violated by a makeup product was with the ABH Fall Romance palette. Which is such a bummer because this has potential of being a wonderful monochromatic red palette to your collection if you are just looking for something like that. If you don't want to invest yourself by getting like different palettes with different reds and you're like, okay, I want to have one red palette, maybe this could have been it. So I will revisit that, but so far this is the worst item of the collection. The Freddy Krueger palette though, the green one, it's not good either. It's better than the Dream Master one, I'm honest with you, but the problem is just the colors. They might look different here in the pan, but these 3, for example, different colors, yes, but they're in the same depth level. That means applied on the eyes, they either mush into one muddy mess, or there, like with these 2 colors, is just no difference between them. The shimmers in here, so far from what I've used, I used 4 out of those 5. I just didn't use Haunted. They're amazing. They're great. They're better than Dream Master. I had so much more expectations for these 2 palettes, and I'm a bit disappointed in that. So the question that we're all asking is, do I recommend this collection? No. And that has nothing to do with the experience that I had with Glamlite. That has nothing to do with their weird social media presence. That has absolutely nothing to do with that. The quality of this collection is just not the same as it was, for example, with the Ghostface one. I ordered the complete Ghostface collection too, and I love every single piece of it. I even love the red lip gloss. I even love the brown lip liner with the dead nude concealer lips. That's a vibe. But this collection is just not holding up to it. I feel like, and I cannot speak for the Jason collection, I skipped that. But I feel like since they had the licenses for those franchises like Ghostface, Freddy, like Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Chucky in the beginning of 2023, I feel like since they had these licenses, I'm pretty sure that they are somewhat, I don't know, committed to like a time schedule on like till these licenses are done for them, and then maybe they're not allowed to produce these products anymore with that logo, so that they can only sell what they already have in their warehouses. At least that's my understanding from those licenses that you can buy, or like the rights to use this logo. It is rushed. I felt like the last 4 months, or like the last 3 months for Glamlite were so rushed that the quality was just left out. it left the chat. It left social media, it unalived. Which is a bummer because I think the Nightmare on Elm Street collection had really big potential to be the best one out of the horror ones. But so far, to me, it's Ghostface. So what do you think? Have you tried this? Are you a fan of Glamlite, or are you just as butthurt as I am? Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. I'm doing fun stuff here. If you don't know, I'm on a no-buy currently until the end of March. So nothing you see here is like the newest news, but I do You Don't Need That Shits, where we go over those new items and I try to talk you and me out of these.